What?
I did wash my hands.
You were in the bathtub. That's all you did was wash your hands, you goof. All right, ready? Lay down. What book are we reading?
Who took my hairy toe? Who took my hairy toe?
Okay.
Are you cold?
Nope, I'm okay.
I'm
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Who took my hairy toe? You want to lay down?
No, I don't have something on my head. I forgot my hair thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you put it on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to stand over here because the lighting is horrible in this room.
Yeah. Okay. On All Hallows Eve, when the wind is whipping through the gap and the trees are scratching at the sky, the folks round here say you can hear old Tar Pockets screaming.
It's at week.
Yeah. Old Tar Pockets was not his real name. That has long been forgot. Some say he was just an old man living up the holler away from other folk, but they also say he was a greedy old man, even that it wasn't safe to say howdy to him without taking a good hold to your hat. He met his ruination one Halloween. You see, he was prospecting for a little something handy by his neighbor's barn while the neighbor was tarring up his roof. By the barn sat an open bucket of warmed up tar. I'd like to get me some of that tar, he thought. Might come in right handy sometime. I don't know. Well, the old man looked around but couldn't find anything to put it in. So, when the neighbor wasn't looking, he dipped a stick full of that soft, warm tar out of the bucket. What are you looking at? It's just his chin.
Something's down here in the hoodie ham.
Oh, okay. So when the neighbor wasn't looking, he dipped a stick full of that soft, warm tar out of the bucket and plopped it right into his coat pocket. That's how he got his name, Old Tar Pockets. Then he spied a few scraggly sweet potato plants, the last of the season, in his neighbor's garden. So Old Tar Pockets began to dig, and he dug up a hairy toe.
Big hairy toe.
It was big, covered in coarse brown fur with a long yellow toenail curving over at the end. Well, the old man wasn't sure what he would do with it, but he did hold to the old saying, finders keepers, so he took that toe and stuffed it into his pocket. Old Tar Pockets carried home those stolen golden sweets and cooked himself up a mess of greens and taters for supper. Then he remembered he had that toe. He reached into his pocket, but he couldn't pull it out. You see, the tar had cooled down and hardened up a bit, and that toe was stuck fast. In fact, the old man couldn't get his hand out. His hand was stuck on the tar on the toe, and the toe was stuck to the tar in his pocket. Old Tar Pockets decided to get ready for bed. Tomorrow, when the sun was out, he'd warm up his jacket, soften up the tar, and pull everything out as slick as you please. But just then, the wind began to rise and whistle round the windows. Outside, the trees began to jerk about and claw at the sky, and Old Tar Pockets heard a question on the voice of the wind. It hissed at the corners of the house. It asked, "Who took my hairy toe?" The old man opened the door and stared out into the dark woods beyond the house. Ah, just my imagination, he thought, and turned to shut the door. Then he heard it again, louder and closer. "Who took my hairy toe?" Quickly, he closed and barred the door with his free hand. He latched the windows and pulled the curtains. It was dark in the little house. Still, the wind came in through the chinks in the walls. He could hear the question again and again, louder and coming closer. "Who took my hairy toe? Who took my hairy toe?" Old Tar Pockets raked out the fire and stopped up the chimney with rags. Nothing was getting inside tonight, but he heard the voice again, this time from just took my hairy toe? Standing wild-eyed in the center of the room, the old man heard scratching at the latch and the clacking of claws being drawn down on the wood of the door. Old Tar Pockets jumped into bed and yanked the quilt over his head, but he could still hear the question, first at one window, then the other. Who took my hairy toe? Who took my hairy toe? Suddenly, a mountain-bending shriek of wind blew against the old house with such force that the door cracked and lay in 2 pieces, gaping open. Just as quickly, the wind died down. In the hush that followed, the old man could hear his heart beating, and he could hear the thump, scritch, thump, scrape of heavy feet approaching his bed in the dark. Who took my hairy toe? Old Tar Pockets couldn't take it any longer. He sat up in bed and stared at the darkest darkness he had ever known. 2 fiery red eyes stared back. Then he smelt the foul breath and felt the sharp claws as the beast reached toward him. The old man flipped back those covers with one free hand and cried, Here it is. I've got it in my pocket.
Are you
Take
loud?
it.
Are you loud?
Am I loud?
Scissors.
The great beast moaned. It had found its hairy toe, but the toe was stuck in old Tar Pocket's pocket. With a shriek, the great red-eyed beast grabbed the old man, tucking him under its arm, ran out of the house and into the October night. Now, when ghosts and goblins haunt the hills and the wind is rising in the treetops, they say you can hear the shrieks of the angry beast. If you listen carefully, you can hear the old man's screams too, as beast and man wander the valleys and ridges of the mountains together. The kindly folk here say, Pay that no, never mind. It's just old Tar Pockets getting his due. I say, just as long as what's in your pocket is yours, I wouldn't worry about it. The end.
Huh? Where's this guy?
It's old Tar Pockets.
Everything he wants to,
He's a mean old man.
but he wanted.
It wasn't his.
You know, who's that? The old guy
Mm-hmm.
that was so mean.
It was mean. The beast just wants his toe back.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
old Tar Pockets took it.
but how would I get it back?
I don't know, 'cause it's stuck in his pocket now. How are they going to get it back?
It's one,
Mhm.
2, 3 of us.
It's going to take 3 of us to get him his toe back?
Yeah,
Wow. What are we going to do?
Rita has to run and get him quiet.
Oh.
It'll be a toy for him.
If we give him a toy, you think he'll give the toe back? It could work.
If we get him more toys.
You're going to give him your toys?
Yeah, but I can't.
Why?
Because I want to keep them.